Emmy, is I'll do an opening here in just a second. We'll make sure we can hear each other well enough. I think we can. And let's see. I don't know if I can do anything about evening our relative positions here or not. Let's see. I have to do this through my phone. And I have way too much headspace, but what can I do about it? Not much. Okay, well, give me one more second because I do want to make sure I can play the song. And then we'll do an opening here. Here's the song. Nope, that's not the song. Here we go. Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's a little distorted, but I think it might just be the maybe it's my head.
Well, no, it shouldn't be. Let's see. We'll play with it here. Let me actually download it. It's because I've had to switch to my phone here, so it's all
a
cluster monkey.
I understand. I understand. My laptop is no longer with us. It's just been laid to rest. Very sad.
Hang on. Yeah, well, I mean, they have. I guess they technically don't make this available on the computer. Mine just happens to be an M1 Mac and can play. Can do iPhone apps on there, so I shouldn't be complaining. But let's see. Let's open this up with VLC. Sounds really good on my end, which is a bummer. Let me see.
Oh no, I think it just if you just play it a little bit long, like maybe 20 seconds, I can get a.
Okay.
Summer's going, winter's coming nearer. The season's finally here.
How does it sound?
Yeah, I think it just almost sounds like the voice has been split or something, but it could just be my headphones, you know?
Yeah, let's see. So, I don't think there's any way I can listen. Can you just disconnect your headphones for a minute and listen through the phone? And let's see if that sounds better.
Do that. Yeah.
Okay. And Jazz, the music, can you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if it sounded good? It should sound really good, Jazz. And she may be just listening in the background and can't. All right, I'm going to play it again. Did you get disconnected?
I did. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Where the streets like clothes, the wind is nipping at my nose. It's bringing bundles of cheer. I just cannot wait.
Still not good?
No, I think it's fine. I think it's just it might just be the effect of going through the speaker or something. I'm sure it's better than it was on Twitter.
Well, what I can do is for the thing that we push out there, I can cut it in. You know what I mean? So and lay the track in better. But let me check one thing.
Snowflakes are falling down. I'm happy to hear the sounds of family. I feel the love in the air. Candles.
Did that get better or worse?
I think it was better.
And mistletoe and downtown is all aglow. It's lit up with the big red bow.
Better, you think?
It wasn't. It was when you first did it, and then it's almost like there's this hiss or a crackle. I don't know. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I think it's distorted or something.
Yeah, let me try one more quick thing, but then like I said, I can fix it in post.
My favorite time of the year. Days are shorter, nights are rocking so long. Come on, let's all sing along. Got my pumpkin spice. Tell Santa I've been nice this year. All my worries are gone. I just cannot wait. Snowflakes are falling down. I'm happy to hear the sounds of family.
All right. Well, it sounds really good on my end, so hopefully it'll sound good out there. And like I said, I can fix it in post. But all right. Let me get my good mood on.
Good to see
That is
you.
just very, very frustrating. I've got the green screen. I've got thousands of dollars worth of equipment here that I can't use because they want to force me to use my phone, which is an inferior thing. But I'm not the boss, and so we got to do what we got to do. I appreciate that.
Yes,
but we're gonna have fun.
Exactly. I know sometimes
And,
technology is it is wonderful when it works. Can you hear me?
I can, and it's pretty amazing considering where you are in the world that we're even able to talk to each other. I'm going to do one more thing because I cannot stand that much headroom. Hang on. Guys, got to keep it down out there, please. All right, here we go. It'll be a little better, maybe. Oh my gosh, just ridiculous. Why do they do this to me? Like, there we go. All right, I can live with that. Now you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? No? Hopefully you hear me now. All right. Can you hear me now? Cannot hear me? All right. I can see my own audio. There, can you hear me now? Check your phone. Oh no, just check. Look at your phone. Look at your phone. I can see it working.
I'm using my phone.
Ah, there we go. Okay, now I can hear you. Can you hear me? You can't hear me though?
Hello?
I think it's on your end.
Nothing.
All right.
Oh,
Nothing?
testing.
Just go to Twitter. Go to Twitter. Type. Check your phone.
Twitter?
Yeah. Go to Twitter. I'll hopefully maybe could just be maybe reboot. I'm hoping you can hear me now when you come back. Check. I'm going to invite you to... Dr. Barry. Can you hear me there, Jasmine? Give me another clap if you can hear me. Excellent. All right. So we just got to get Emme back. Inviting her to video. Emme, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let me invite you to video. All right.
Hello?
Yes. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
They can hear me in the audience.
Hello?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Work with headphones then. I'll do it without.
Okay. You can hear me now, though?
I can.
Yeah. Oh, that is.
Yes.
I am so sorry. This is like the worst it's ever been.
That's all right.
Let me get the music off.
Are people
Excellent.
waiting for us? Or
Well, Jasmine's down there. I mean, these really are dependent on the replays, not people watching live generally.
yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'll just do a
right.
show open there. I'll start the music back up. Just go ahead. We'll keep you on video. I'll just do a quick opening,
Okay,
and then we'll just start. We'll just start talking.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want me to try it one more time with headphones just in case?
I'm not hearing any feedback, so as long as you're hearing me okay, I think we're okay.
Totally doesn't
but try
work
the
with
headphones.
headphones.
At least we can hear each other.
It just. Yes.
You just
So,
might hear. You just might
excellent.
hear
All right.
little kids in the background. That's all.
Don't worry about it. It is the internet.
Little elves.
So that's
we'll just say Santa's elves.
Right. Now I'm curious. Hang on one second. Let's make sure this will play. Sound better or worse?
Summer's going,
About the same.
winter's
About the same? All right. Well, it sounds great in mine, so let's assume that it's sounding good out there, and we will, like I said, I can fix it in post. I just won't put this out until tomorrow, which is fine. All right. I'm going to pull the music up, and then I'm going to take it down to a quick intro, and we are going to have a really good time talking halfway across the world. So hang on one second. Just stay right there. Yay, indeed.
It's no secret. It's plain to see.
All right. Everybody, if all one of you, Dr. Jasmine Berry down there, actually somebody else is in the audience, Mr. Znaz and Milena. I see a couple of people down there too. I am Revolution McInnes. This is Talk with Revolution, and I am with the inimitable Emme Lentino, and Emme is across the world, on the top of the world, because there is no top or bottom. I love those maps, Emme, that have the Southern Hemisphere on top. Have you seen those? They have those down there?
Oh, yes, I have.
I love those. And then somebody pointed out you could actually have the East as the top or the West as the top, because there is no top or bottom in space.
Yeah,
So,
it's all about perspective.
I'm-
It's all about perspective.
Yes, from your perspective, I'm down under.
Well, it's
So,
great to see
and
you, and hear
It
your
is great to
voice.
see you too. And you know what I love? It is the power of the internet that we have connected, and with all of the things that people say, good or bad, about the internet, et cetera. One of the most beautiful things is we get to meet. We met on it was Indra's show, right? I'm on so many
Yes.
different shows. Yeah. And you got to sing, and we got to hear your music, and I was like, I have to have you on this show. Music, I think, on this platform is the untold story. I know some people probably do it, and when things are working right, it sounds great. Tonight we've been having some technical problems, but we're not going to worry about that. It's the holiday season, and it's the holiday season here. I think of cold, and the holiday season there, you got to think of like beach blanket bingo and surfer movies and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I'm hoping, in saying that, I'm hoping that we get that this year. It's been quite an interesting kind of like stormy weather. So it's that's
Really?
actually why I'm wearing a jacket. High winds and rain, and so it hasn't quite been the tropical summer, that we're used to over here. But I'm not complaining. I'm still thankful. It's still beautiful. It's still Christmas time. Yes.
Yes, we're going to have to blame those hobbits messing around in Mordor. Probably, it's probably some kind of fight.
The hobbits and Santa's elves.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, they're battling it out for the Santa's elves want Christmas and the hobbits. No, it's supposed to be warm down here. So but you are originally from the United States. So I want to ask you, just in terms of like, because you've been down there for a while, right now in New Zealand.
Yeah, 12 years now.
12 years. So what is it? Does it seem weird that it is warm in the summer, other than this little stormy season that you got? Like, how does that feel? Because I guess if you live in Boca Raton, it's warm there too in the winter. But, for me, you got to have snow,
Yeah, I mean, I think when I first moved here, I mean, I had come from New York City, and before that I was in LA and San Diego. So I had done a summer in California, a few summers in California. I mean, summery weather at Christmas time. And so I think because I hadn't come straight from Oregon winters, I think it was probably, I kind of was used to it. But in saying that, there's lots of different things about Christmas here that, it is so different than the Northern Hemisphere. So I think, I'm used to it now, but I still really miss that, the like the songs that everyone's kind of sing where it's, involves snow and, so.
Right. Yes. I guess the let it snow, only works. Though there are, are there two main islands in New Zealand? And my geography is not great.
Yeah, there's the South Island and the North Island. So the South Island is gorgeous, and yes, does get snow. It is a place to go for skiing. Not so much in at Christmas time, although they are saying that maybe this year it will snow. But for the most part, it's just both the islands are it's our summer.
And you said that's the Southern Island that has the snow. Or the Northern?
South Island, yes.
The South Island, the South. For me, it might be the North Island.
I live on the North Island, and we're known for our beaches and
that's more populated. The North Island, is that correct? The
Yes.
North Island is more populated. Yeah, that's what I thought. I like that though. How, and just again for us noobs here in this part of the world, how long's the travel time between the two islands?
Well, flying wise, you can get to Queenstown, which is probably one of the more popular places in the South Island, in about an hour and 50 on an airplane.
Okay.
So
So it's like popping over to New York.
Yeah. We don't have any like extremely long, like from one part of New Zealand to the other. If you were driving, yes, it would take quite some time, and you'd have to take a ferry because obviously there's.
I was going to say you need a boat in between, right?
Yeah, you do. You need a boat. Yes, it was funny when I first moved here. A few people were like, "Oh yeah, you could just drive from the north to the south," and I thought, well, unless you know something I don't, I think that would be very difficult.
A very long bridge. A very long bridge.
A very long bridge.
Yes. Well, they've had these concepts of putting tunnels under the water and all of that stuff. But I think that's fascinating. I was mentioning to you when we were talking about doing this show and doing a little pre-production stuff that I have, now friends all over the world, really because of social media. COVID really contributed to it, but I was doing this a little before COVID. How much more? Maybe 6 months or so before. But but it really has drawn, I got Dr. Barry down there, and there'll be people that will be watching this from all over the world when we get this put back up there. And I have people, I'm sure, other than in Antarctica, on every continent that I would love to see and travel, so that's kind of one of the things I'm hoping as we grow this little thing that I'm doing, if we can go to places and do some live, broadcasts and stuff. In fact, I have a friend, Kelly Pantaleone, whose parents, they weren't sheep farmers or herders or whatever they are, but they're like, her dad managed a ranch, and so they lived in one of those places where it's stationed such and such way out in the middle of nowhere. But in that area, because those ranchers are so wealthy, they have a really big like country music festival down there that they fly people all over the world to go to sing at. And I've got some friends that are country musicians that I've known from the show, and I'm like, we have got to do a live remote from where there are 1 million sheep and only 1,500 people. That would be really fun. And I would definitely love to be able to come to New Zealand. I have some other friends down there too, and do our show down there, because whenever I think of this show, I always think of us being in a living room or something together and just talking, because that's what it feels like to me. Yeah, I'm just talking to my friends. It just happens, that I have a green screen behind me that should work, but it's, we won't talk about that. But when you, well, let's talk a little bit about your music, because you are an amazing musician and you've got a lot of experience. For somebody in their mid-20s, I don't know how you've had all of this experience in music. You must have been very young when you started.
You're so cute. Yeah, I love singing, and I love writing music, and I love being able to connect with people. The stories that you get to write when you kind of embark on a new song and share it with the world, it is so special. And so for me, it's something that I feel is one of the most exciting things that I could ever think of doing is exactly what I'm doing, and just connecting with you and connecting with your friends and the listeners around the globe that I know will become friends. It's just such a cool thing to be able to connect with people from all over the globe and to share music and to share thoughts and stories. I think it's just a reminder that we're human, and I love that. I love those things.
I love that too, and I feel very lucky too, and I'm sure we will as well. Because one of the things I really love about this is that I invariably become friends with my guests, and you make a nice connection, and a lot of and one of the things that my platform is really about is getting people on my platform so that they can be seen. And so I'm always kind of trying to network behind the scenes for my friends and stuff like that too, connect people together. And we've connected some people, that are a couple of screenwriters that are writing, these are fairly accomplished screenwriters that are writing a screenplay together, and a friend who's got a nonprofit who's now friends with some of the biggest names in hip hop on the planet, because I connected them to a producer who's a friend of mine. And so that is what I really love. This is fun. I would like, to get like, I don't know, Katie Couric money or something to do this or whatever. But I mean, I'm going to do it no matter what. Right. And the same way with you with music and telling stories. And it really makes me think, because I heard recently, and this gets a little tough, but we now know that like Neanderthals and even the Davisians, because there was on our planet, there were other human beings, a long time ago. And it's actually kind of funny that we only ended up with one, set of human beings. But we know that there's Neanderthal blood in some of us. So we know that, there was some intermingling. We won't go into the details of how or why that might have happened, but the idea of them actually probably having a language, and they do that based on brain size and all this stuff. But it's really neat to think of what came first, right? Music or language, or how did they evolve together? Because there had to be, even before you could talk, there would, I guess, you would talk, like there would be pidgin languages, right? These languages that, of sounds and stuff, or even just signals and signs that were probably there but then you had to be able to feel rhythm, because rhythm is just naturally can be in a stream. It could be the music of the birds. Like how you would think, even if you can't talk, you would emulate the music that you hear in the world. And so to me, dancing and music may have well come before even language fully evolved. So it's as ancient as humans are. I think music has to be.
I love that. When you were talking, I just was getting this image of, whether it's a man or a woman, but they're just discovering their voice for the very first time, and the beauty of that sound and the vibration and how it would have made them feel. And then, it just, and then they would have wanted to just keep doing it and get more and more people to join them. And it's a really cool thought.
Yeah, you would think that they would harmonize, right? I mean, that long again before there would be speech, just you're going to come across a note once you can make sound, and you would have been verbal or at least making sounds, because from proto-human to human is about 1.5 million years or so. And so we know apes, the great apes and the lower apes and everything, they all can make sounds. But when your brain is big enough to be like, oh, wow, we both just made a similar sound, which always blows my mind too, because of course those are just words that I've placed with that. But I mean, you could kind of just look at each other and be like, hey, that noise we just made, just by looking at each other, let's try and do that again. Right. So to me, it does seem like maybe language could have evolved, and our neuroscientist down there, Dr. Barry, might be able to answer that. But that it could have evolved from music, from singing, because just the dancing and the beating on things. And then the other thing too is those cave paintings at La Trobe, and I think there's some in Spain that are even older. We were talking about this on a show the other day too. Can you imagine? Because when you see those torches on, like in a movie, a Frankenstein movie or something, those aren't real. Like yes, you can now. Like you could take some leaves and you could use some gas, and we can make kind of a torch. But that's a movie trope. There really, there's never been torches where you can just walk around. So those folks that were making those cave paintings thousands and thousands of years ago are getting down into those caves in the dark and then finding a way to make a fire within the space where they are, or bring fire to them in some way, shape, or another, but not just like a torch, and painting by firelight. Wow. And nobody's going to see it. Right. I mean, it's just like when you sing a song in the woods and nobody's there, nobody's going to hear it. Right. But you have to do it. You're compelled to do it. It's whether you're singing in the shower or you're singing in the studio. I love my children. I have a 19-year-old that she's in college in New York, and I have a 9-year-old, and he has this routine of, he kind of sings in the shower, but he also just kind of makes these noises and stuff. And I'll be honest, it drives me crazy, because it's very much kind of the same all the time. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to discourage him. But I just want to go like, dude, change up the tune a little bit there, But I want him to be able to discover this stuff, because it's just natural. It just comes out, And so when did you first kind of know that you had that music bug?
Probably about 2 years old, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it definitely was really early on. I loved music and I loved dancing, and I would play dress up and sing. And I think there is a video of me, and I might have been 2 or 3, and I was singing into my hairbrush. Obviously didn't have a microphone, but I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm here, I'm ready. And I was making up a song, and it was, it was nothing amazing, but I was definitely having a great time, and my dad is laughing as he's filming. So it was early on, and definitely have always loved performing, and I think being able to make people happy. It was something that I learned early on, that when you can do a story, or make up a story or perform. I was always writing plays as a kid and singing and getting together with other kids and putting on productions that I would direct. I was like a 9-year-old director. Okay, you over there, Sally Jane. And over.
Stage left.
I loved that people, stage left. Don't drop your line. I think it was so great to be able to bring joy to the other kids and the teachers in that performance. And I think it was it was something that we all kind of like, it was like a community feeling as well. I think that was the other thing I discovered at a really young age, was how amazing it was to feel like you belonged, and also
Mm-hmm.
to be able to bring people together. And I think in anything that people do, whether it's, sports, theater, dance, anything that we get to do with other people, that community feeling is something that is so powerful. And that sense of belonging is something that, I think, like I said early on, was something I really valued and that I wanted more of.
Well, yeah, and that I'm staying with this theme of early history in humans, but I know part of the reason that it came out in me is because like Australia, you're on an island in a part of the world where people would have had to, as those places were settled, a long time ago, where people first hit those places, they would have been cast adrift or whatever, you know what I mean? It would have been even tough to just intentionally, you got no compass. I mean, you can go by sunlight and stars, but I mean, for people to get to those places. So it really makes me think just how ancient, again, all of this is, and the joy. I know when I was first, I want to ask you about performing a little bit but I think the first time I remember speaking in front of an audience of any significance was in about 8th grade. We had moved to New York from the Midwest, and I was always very verbal, but I'm an introvert who found the extrovert could kind of, get people to pay attention to what I wanted you to pay attention to. Don't pay attention to what I'm shy about or whatever. But I could, I found my dad was a natural salesman. So, I had picked all of that up. But it was some kid, what was his name? I think his first name was Scott. But he wanted to run for political office in 8th grade. But he didn't have so he ran for president, and he wanted me to be his vice president. I mean, I'd been in the school a week, and this is New York, totally different place than where I'd come from. But I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. What is a big deal? But the way that the election worked was, if, the president, whoever got the most votes was the president, whoever got, of the presidents, right? And then of the vice presidents, whoever got the most votes. So my guy didn't have to win for me to be carried in. And he did not win. Another kid became president, but I was vice president. And the reason that I won was because I went up to that stage and I just nailed it, because I felt the energy in the room. I was like a Baptist preacher. I mean, the teachers were, in fact, that year I won the John F. Kennedy Award that they gave away, for being an outstanding leader. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything though, because I really was. I was very popular after that, but I just let the other people do all the work. So, but I got all the credit, right? I got all the glory, but I went up on that stage and I was like, oh my gosh, feel this power. I've got, 400 kids, and I can just tell them right now, leave school. You know what I mean? Go to I could have gotten them to do anything. And so that I've had lots of experiences like that. And when you get that energy, and I've always used it for good now, I didn't use it for bad. But when you feel that stage presence, when you're out there in front of the crowd, that's got to be one of just the best feelings ever.
It is. It definitely is, especially when you know that connection is happening. I think that was probably why being in live theater was such a fun thing to get involved in. And I think early on, I think my first production was when I was 8 years old. I played Alice in Wonderland, and we had these school shows that we were doing before each performance. So we had the evening shows and then the daytime shows, and it was so fun. The energy that was kind of like sizzling in the audience of real time, being able to interact with them, with all the other characters on stage, was such a cool feeling. And then it was a musical, so then singing was something that I so enjoyed. So I got to kind of have fun with the dialogue, but then sing and really connect with, there might have been someone in the audience. I mean, this is how it's always been for me, is that I always kind of look for the person that maybe, I don't know, I just feel intuitively they may need a little bit of encouragement, or they're having a down day. And those are the people that I would just see, and I would sing to them, or I would act to them. And then afterwards they would come up to me and they'd say, how did you know how did you know that I needed to have a little bit of an uplift today? And I was like, I don't know, but hey, my name's Emily and Emmy, and how are you? And so that was always something that was really, really cool, and still is, to be able to really, you're up there, but you're seeing people in the element
Right.
of listening or watching, and they're just unguarded in some way. And I find that that's really special, to be able to have that kind of connection with people. It's
Yeah, I like
makes me
that.
happy.
And I like the unguarded part because they come to the music, they come to the performance, they come to whatever it is, with kind of an open mind and open heart and ready to be, filled up with something from someone. And I think no matter how you think that connection may happen, because there's verbal cues, there's all kinds of things that it could be. It could be mystical, it could just be, very evidence based, we're just by signals and everything else, you could tell these things, but it really doesn't matter because when you really have a feel for what that crowd is doing, you can feel the energy flow. In fact, I saw something. I don't do like I don't have enough followers to go live on TikTok, which is good because then I don't go on TikTok much. But I kind of need 1,000 followers because it'd be nice to do little promos or whatever on there. But I do play around with a little bit with YouTube stories, and most of my YouTube story stuff is all science stuff and all that stuff. But I did come across something where there was a musician who was getting the audience to sing with him, and then he was able to, I can't remember exactly what they called it, but he was able to get everybody at this single resonance. And it was just like, it was kind of like when you hear those like monks singing or whatever, where it's
Yeah.
just 1,000 voices all, you do it where it's just slightly off, and it's doing that resonance thing, whatever it does. And it was amazing. You know what I mean? And so when you have the audience singing back a song to you, or sending their love back to you, I just, like I said, I love speaking in front of large audiences, but I think the only song that I think in karaoke, did I say it right? I always say it wrong. I always say karaoke. The I can do some good Neil Diamond. I mean, I can pull off his songs a little bit, and I can do like Low Places, Garth Brooks. I can nail that song. That's the song I can do the best. But the thing when you're doing it, I can imagine performance is amazing, but when you're singing your own song, does that feel even better? And again, I'm, using English here and trying, the words aren't always going to express it the best way, but is that even cooler maybe than singing a cover for somebody else? Like when it's your music, I would think it would be.
Yeah, I think it's when I write something, and I'm sure that this is, across the board, anyone who writes music will feel this way. It's kind of like such a personal thing, and when you can share it and be so open, it's very healing for you as the artist, but also to be able to kind of let your guard down and share. So it does have a different effect. There's maybe a couple of songs that I've sang in the past that were covers that really, because they meant so much to me, I had that kind of heartfelt connection. But for the most part, it's really the songs that I've written, because I remember those moments of writing the song and getting together the band to be able to record it and then pushing it out. So all of those moments are kind of embedded, if you will, in the vocals and in the story that kind of comes out when I do sing it. So that connection, I feel, is really special when it's been something.
And finding that groove even in the studio, right? And the best way to sing it and the best way to approach it. I've been lucky because I do have a friend out in Hollywood and have been able to be in the studio. And now, of course, they could do things remotely too, right? So it gets very interesting. And to be talking to people halfway again around the world, and then they're playing their part. We can't, because of the speed of light, be able to play live with each other across the world, because there's always that bit of a delay. But that's going to be tough to beat. But when you are performing a song that you love. My friend, I have on here quite often. I have a couple of musician friends that are on here pretty often, and my friend Chris Angelis, who's an amazing performer and an amazing musician, beautiful voice. She writes a lot of. She's a singer-songwriter, and she writes a lot of love songs that can be incredibly up-tempo, but they're quite depressing sometimes, right? Because they're rooted in the not so good things about love, and she has both. But of course, the ones that are the tougher moments for her, I always tease her, and I'm like, and this is not me doing it. This is, typical of what I think you can do with a lot of folks that write those kind of songs. Is like, if you ever actually fall in love and you guys get along, your career's over. Because you won't have anything to write about. You know what I mean? Because it's always and I told her, I said, could we just, because I love her to death, but could we just fall romantically in love for like a week, and then you could write a killer song about me, and I could be like, oh, that's the song she used to dump me,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the personalness of a song, you know what I mean? You're sharing your soul with people, whether it's a good whether it's a downbeat good song or an upbeat sad song, you're sharing your most personal kind of thoughts and stuff out there with people. So that that level of vulnerability, I think, is something that I think is amazing, for performers, because even if it's Shostakovich, or it's if it's Emme Lentino, or if it's U2 or whoever it is, you're saying to the world, this came out of me and I'm going to give it out to you, and I hope you like it. But in some sense, I like it, and that's enough. It's even with this show. I pick people I like. Now, people like this show because the people I like, other people like. So maybe that makes me more vanilla. I don't know. I don't think so. But but it is like, it's fine. If you like it, fine. But I'm going to sing it in the shower, with a hairbrush, or in front of 10,000 people. I don't care. I'm going to sing. Yeah. And I would imagine, how is that translated into just Emme Lentino's everyday life? Like, what is it like to be a musician? And have you known anything else than being a musician? I mean, you're a mom, maybe, I guess, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a mom, and but I'm a teacher. I teach kids theater, music, and dance. And,
oh, cool.
A mentor, and directed lots of kids shows as well. I've had lots of different jobs throughout my life. I've always really enjoyed people, and thank goodness, because I'm with them all the time. Thank goodness. But it's brought me lots of places all over the globe, just having lots of different types of projects and things. And even producing indie films, that's been really fun to learn. It's a different skill set altogether. But yeah, so I stay really active and really busy doing lots of things. But music is always there, and it's always the core of. I don't want to say it's the core. It's the heartbeat of me, and it's something that I love, and I will always do it. I hope I'm 129 still singing, and yeah. So. But I do lots of different things as well, and it keeps me active and busy. But it's such a fun thing to do.
Well, I don't know the state of taxes in New Zealand, but I tell anybody, I'm 56, so I tell anybody that's younger than me, don't worry. They're gonna keep you around till you're 150, because they want you to pay all, and keep paying your taxes. And
I'm a citizen of 2 countries, so think about that.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Let me send you some cash. I know that's got to be tough. And I do want to mention to people, because we've been on here for a little while and we haven't sung any songs. And I gotta say, that's because Emme Lentino, not that that other people we've had on the show don't have their stuff up there with, licensed music to play, but your music, we can't get clearance, to play it, but we're going to get to play this Christmas song that you have. And I'm curious, how long ago, because we talked about it, is this memories of Christmas past, since it's summer in New Zealand? When I was listening to it, I'm thinking, well, she didn't get inspired by the beach for that song.
Yeah, so this song that we're going to be sharing shortly, it's called "It's Christmas," and I wrote it with two great friends in LA, Ryan Benyo and Monty Malone. And it is a reflection of Christmas memories from childhood. And we wrote it from the perspective of if we could sprinkle every good, happy thought into a song and fill it with, glitter and just happiness, then let's do it. And so I hope that when people hear the song, they just feel like their spirit is jolly, and just hope it makes people feel good.
Excellent. Well, what we will do is we can both. Do you know how to drop down your video but stay in? We'll just drop down our video. We'll listen, and then we'll come back, and that'll actually give you a chance. Like my Apple Watch has told me to stand up. So that'll give us a chance to stretch. We can listen to your song, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more. Hopefully, it's going to sound good. But anybody that's hearing this most likely will not know that it will sound good, because I'm going to be able to put it in afterwards. But we've had some technical issues tonight. But enjoy this song. I know I've been enjoying it, and it will definitely be in the Christmas rotation. And I'll tell you a little bit about that when we come back. So let's listen to "It's Christmas."
Summer's going, winter's coming nearer, the season's finally here. This weather suits my clothes, the wind is nipping at my nose, it's bringing bundles of cheer. I just cannot wait. Snowflakes are falling down, I'm happy to hear the sounds of family. I feel the love in the air. Candles and mistletoe and downtown is all aglow. It's lit up with the big red bow, my favorite time of the year. Days are shorter, nights are rocking so long. Come on, let's all sing along. Got my pumpkin spice, tell Santa I've been nice this year. All my worries are gone, I just cannot wait. Snowflakes are falling down, I'm happy to hear the sounds of family. I feel the love in the air. Candles and mistletoe and downtown is all aglow. It's lit up with the big red bow, my favorite time of the year. Sleigh rides, skating, church bells ringing, all the memories we made. Let's all celebrate. Snowflakes are falling down, I'm happy to hear the sounds of family. I feel the love in the air. Candles and mistletoe and downtown is all aglow. It's lit up with the big red bow, my favorite time of the year. So happy holidays to you.
Wow. Can you hear me? Yeah? I can't. Hold on. There you go. I can hear you now, I bet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just pulled the music down and I forgot to put it back up to hear you. That is absolutely some claps there. Thank you, Brian. That is absolutely a
Brian.
phenomenal song, Emmy. That
Thank
is,
you.
just musically, lyrically, of course, your voice, and it's just a, it's a produced. I mean, it's just, that's a very, that thing needs to be playing on all the top 40 stations in North America and South America and Eastern, Western, whatever direction the globe is in your home. And that should be a perennial Christmas song for sure. Is that that song? How long ago did you finish making that song?
So we finished that a couple of years ago, and we've released the radio edit of it just a couple of days ago. And the good news is, and I'm very excited to tell you, is that it's been picked up by a department store called Woolworths over in Australia, and it will be playing and it is playing in every store that carries that is that brand. So people will be shopping and listening to the song, which I'm so excited about.
Oh, nice!
Yeah, and this is you're the first person that I've been able to, to mention that to. So I'm really, I'm just kind of still pinching myself. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's always really nice to get good news, right?
It is. And what's funny is somebody posted something on Twitter, and it was basically remembering, posting a picture of how they do those things, say you're this old, but without saying you're this old. And it was old businesses that had gone out of business. And I posted in America, of course, Woolworths, but I noticed that there's stores in Australia that it's basically, I think, like you said, it's slightly different. But I was like, wait, are they still around? But I realized it was in Australia. So that's really neat. Yeah. And that to me is like walking around, at Macy's, in New York at Christmas time and hearing Christmas music. That is really, really cool. Congratulations on that. But that is just a great Christmas song. Those things can take a little time because they only get listened to once a year sometimes, but I can imagine in the years to come, that is going to be a massive Christmas hit and I got to say, Emmy, that it's hard to break that, not even whether it becomes popular or not, but to even write a Christmas song that's good, to be honest, because, and I was talking about this with a friend the other day too, is, that's a song that you like on the first listen. There are songs that I've listened to, I have to listen to a couple of times before I really, get into them, but that's a first listen kind of song. So they got to be bouncing around at what did you call it? It's not quite Woolworths. What is it?
Yeah, that's right. That's
it. Is Woolworths.
It's funny when I've always been able to say it, and then when I tried to say it just now,
you said it. Woolworths. Like, gotcha.
Yes, so I think I might have to do some vocal exercises before I speak next. But yes, it will be. It is in all of those stores in the entire country of Australia, and I've already had a few people message me that I don't know personally, but on Instagram, which is where the socials that I hang out mostly in. And they're like, hey, I just heard your song at the store. Whoa.
That's cool.
Like I didn't know them. And it was just it was just like Fred from, Sydney. And it was just cool.
Right.
That people would
take
neat. Time to say, hey, you're the same person. I just Shazammed it. And I've heard your song. So really cool.
That's how they knew. That's cool. People holding their phones up to the speaker. I like that. Yeah, that's
really fun.
Neat.
And there's a music video for this song that will be out in a few days as well on YouTube, which I'm really excited about. It's a kind of a combination of home videos. So both of my little girls are in it, and some other actors that were willing to be a part of it. So I'm excited. I think it's
exciting.
Just a fun time of year. Yeah.
Yeah. And when that comes out, let me know. I'll tweet it and Instagram it or whatever it out there. That'll be very fun. And like I said, making a catchy Christmas song, that's a tricky thing. And, tell the kids, look, you never know. I had a friend, I still do actually. He's retired now, but he's a TV producer, and his first wife was the great granddaughter of, let's see if the name will come to me, but he wrote, amongst others, a ton of songs in the 50s that, what did they used to call them? But standards, right? But So very famous
Yes.
songs, but Jay something, it'll come to me. But he wrote Silver Bells. And I think that was probably
Oh,
his biggest,
I love that
his
song.
biggest hit, but he had tons of them. Well, she was the great granddaughter, and she still does, as far as I know. She gets $100,000 a month, like I like to say, just for breathing, because her great grandfather had so much money that each grandchild gets $1.2 million a year. So tell the girls, hey, if that Christmas tune kicks off real well, you'll be rolling in it.
You're so cute, but and I appreciate too the nice words that you've said, about the song. It really means a lot, and yeah, I appreciate it very much.
Oh, you're welcome. But it is just it is a very fun song. And I'll tell you too, it didn't bite me, but it almost did. It could have, but I learned a while ago. I wasn't worried about your music. I didn't need to listen to your music first because you're really good. But I learned a long time ago when I was first doing this, not that long ago, but for in internet years, that be careful. Inviting a friend onto a show, make sure you watch their movie first, right? Because I was like, oh, to myself as I'm having my friend come on, I'm like, I'm going to show a clip, and I'm like, I didn't really watch this. This could suck. Yeah, but it was good. It was good. You know what I mean? So all future hosts out there, listen to the stuff first. You don't have to if Emme Lentino's doing it, but if it's your friends, especially because you're so enthusiastic when you're first starting out, hey, I'm gonna have my buddy who, people say he's good, but I do remember having that moment like, oh, I hope this short film is good, but and I like that you said, you wanted to pack all the good that you could into all the good things about Christmas in there, and again, even in that part of the world where it's summer, where it's winter here, I'm guessing that Santa, if he is popular down there, he's in board shorts and and a flowery shirt, but and rocking the goatee maybe instead of the full beard.
He's surfing.
But,
it's not a sleigh; it's a big surfboard.
I love it. I love it, with lots of presents on the surfboard. Oh, I would, I definitely need to live in New Zealand then. But it is a great song, and it is just such a joy to be able to play it on here tonight for people. What, if you are in, whether you're, upside down there or right side up or vice versa here, what do you kind of have coming up? And do you, how often do you get a chance to kind of perform?
Yeah, thank you. I've got a few songs coming out in the next week. So I did 2 live performances of Christmas, like standard Christmas songs. Oh, Holy Night. I performed that, and we recorded it, and it was a great experience. Really, kind of nerve-wracking to do it that way, but really fun. And then Away in the Manger is coming out as well. A few days after that, the music video. And then next year, I've got a full-length album coming out in 2023. Oh. And I'm really excited because I feel like it's taken this long in my life to kind of have the sound that I think is can be more defined. And why I say that is I'm a multi-genre artist. And I think I've had a lot of people go, well, what does that mean? And I say, well, actually, it just means that, like in stories, I like to write lots of different types of songs and lots of different types of sounds. But I think for me in this chapter of my life, after going through lots of different things, as we all do, I'm really excited to be able to share a whole album of songs that I really feel very connected to. And I feel like, someone that I've always admired very much is Sarah McLachlan. My dream is to sing with her on stage. So Sarah, if you're listening, I'm available.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she's someone that I've always admired, her songwriting, her voice. And so the songs are adult contemporary, they're very much in that kind of, I don't know how to explain it, that sound. And I feel like it's really good to be able to define it now. So yeah, that's coming out in 2023, and more good, exciting news as well, which I'm not at liberty to share at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be a great year. Looking forward to it, and I just want to say, if there's anyone that wants to connect after this, please, give me a shout on socials. It's just at Emme Lentino or emmelentino.com. I would love to connect with you, and I'd love to hear your story.
Well, that is neat. That is neat. And is Sarah McLachlan, is she a Canadian singer?
She is. Yeah. She's from Canada. Yeah.
Let me hold on. I want to Google her, because I'm not even close to even offering to make any promises here, but she's around my age. That is interesting. But I will put that out into the universal mojo for you, because you never know who's listening to this. And also, you just never know who I know who might know somebody. That's the fun part of all of this. You know what I mean? Or I have somebody on the show or whatever, and somebody's worked with them. And I used to be the operations manager for a sound reinforcement company. So if people don't know what that is, when you go to a concert or a festival or even an indoor venue, the speakers that you're listening to and the soundboards and the monitor boards and everything that are used in those shows, the company I worked for used to do that did that and still does, actually. And so I was in charge of getting all that equipment around the world as the operations manager. And sometimes I would even have to stand in, because I did go to film school and I have run an audio board. I mean, I have a small one here, but sometimes I'd have to stand in and do one. And two of the funnest moments I ever had doing that, and I've told these stories before, so I won't go too deep into them, was doing one with Tony Bennett and a last minute thing, because he was at a room in Chicago. It's Roosevelt University. Can't remember the name of it right now. I always forget it, but it's one of like 5 acoustically perfect halls in the world. And so when you are on that stage, you can be just talking like this, and you can hear me whisper completely across the very back seats of that hall. You can hear the whisper if it's empty. And then you can go on either side of the hall there and whisper against the walls and hear it on the other side as well. It's just perfect. Wow. But he needed, this was in the 90s, so he was still very spry, but they wanted to have some sound reinforcement just in case, right? So it was literally just a couple of speakers and a microphone. And, you're used to kind of having a microphone anyway. So, but I was so nervous, even though I knew how to set up the board. I made my boss, I'm like, no, you're going to put a piece of masking tape where every knob and dial goes, because it's Tony freaking Bennett. And he was so gracious, because I can tell this story about Tony Bennett. When I was 12 and we were living in New York, where I was in Washington Square Park, and there was this crowd of people standing around this guy who's telling some stories, and I'm with my friends. And, I was rather precocious, to say the least. And I'm saying to my friends, and good Lord, he was probably in his 50s then, who knows? I'm like, who's that guy? Like, anybody know who that guy is that's getting all the attention? And they're like, no, we don't know who it is. So we just kind of moseyed on up there. And when there was a moment, I kind of just stepped in. I'm like, dude, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, why are all these people standing around? And he's like, hey, you know what? I'm Tony Bennett. I'm a singer. And we talked for a minute or two. I wasn't rude, but I was, I was curious, like, why, why the heck are all these people talking to this guy? So what's really fun was when we did that show, and I got to, go up there and I give him his microphone and everything. When we were all done with the sound check and everything, and I went up to his manager and I said, hey, I just want to just tell Tony a quick little story. I said, I won't take up too much time. And I've been very gracious. And so he said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I said, hey, hey, Mr. Bennett, I said, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I said, when I was young, and, I doubt you remember this. Anyway, so I recanted the story quickly to him, and, whether he remembered or not, he said he did. And I mean, it was enough of a moment, he might, but, from my perspective, it was, but he was so nice and so gracious, and it was so fun then to have come full circle, to meet somebody like that. Wow. And then to meet him on stage. So that was very fun. And I had a moment like that. And I won't go into the story, with a famous blues musician too, that I didn't meet him before, but again, a last minute gig. And I'm like, with who? You know what I mean? Like, you want me? Oh, You want
Getting
me? You okay? Yeah. You want me to do the sound for who? You know what I mean? No.
Yeah.
And like, you have to, man. Nobody else is available. I don't care. I'm not going to F up the sound for this person. And it was fine. It worked. Oh, I was so nervous, but he could tell I was nervous, and he was again, just so nice and so gracious. And then just the third thing, just to say in terms of musicians, because musicians, I love musicians. They're great. They're my favorite people. They're my favorite guests to have. And I was very fortunate to meet the granddaughter, one of the granddaughters of the great Buddy Guy, who's an incredibly famous, Chicago blues musician. And he has a great, I guess it's a performance place. It's a bar in Chicago. And it was really neat to get to talk to her and hang out with her for a little while, to hear kind of the stories of, to her, it's just her grandpa. You know what I mean? I mean, all of the grandkids run his business now, but the long and the short of it is, it's just their grandpa. He's a world famous musician and he's done all these things. But I love that when you get the stories, on the inside from people, because at the end of the day, they're just people. And they have their good times and their bad times. But musicians, there's just something about musicians. They bring such joy in our lives. And you, from Indra's show to tonight, and that beautiful song, and I will get you on one of these platforms, Emme, and I will have ASCAP, BMI, and all of that licensing, and we'll get your manager to sign off on all of it, and we'll blast some songs out there. We'll make sure the soundboard works, and we'll put some tunes out there. But I've just been so lucky to have you on the show tonight. This has just been really nice.
Thank you so much for being a gracious host and taking time to chat with me. It means a lot. And yeah, I've had a great time with you. You're a great storyteller. I think that you've actually inspired quite a lot of song ideas from our chat. So thank you very much.
All
we
right,
might have to co-write a song together.
Hey, you know what? I'm in, and I want to say this. I have a friend who is I have two actually now who write romance novels. One is not published yet. The other is, and we have been talking for a while about like doing a cyberpunk romance novel together. So if I can get that done and then co-write a song, hey, I'm golden.
Whoa.
I might be able to get an EGOT, because I'm kidding now. But when I was homeless, more than a decade ago, a friend was a burgeoning, well, it's not a screenwriter because it was a playwright. And so she wrote a play about me and my homelessness. It was a bit of an amalgam. There was another person that was also kind of a character in there. But that one, I don't even tell that story too much when I talk about my homelessness, when I'm, speaking about it or whatever. But I do have a play technically written about me. And so, like I said, if we can write a song and I can get a book, I'll take a Tony, I'll take a Grammy. Let's do it.
That's awesome. We have that in common. I also lived in my car and was homeless when I was in LA.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So.
Oh my gosh, in LA. Yeah. Oh
in
wow.
LA, in
oh
LA
my
and
goodness.
San Diego, because I still, I had to drive from one to the other because I was still doing performing arts teaching gigs and stuff. But yeah, it was a really interesting time. And I'm sure we'll have to talk more about that. But I certainly think that
we will. Well, we'll talk
it gives
again
you a sense
for
of,
sure.
Appreciation and humility, and that everything really is a gift. You just never take things for granted again. I had a car, so I have to say I wasn't,
you were blessed.
It wasn't
in
as
that
hard
way.
out as some people, but I was living in my car.
And there's levels of homelessness, but I was going to shelters, and I was and there was a different shelter each night, the way they did it in our community. But I feel the same way as you do about these things. And I say this, I've said this a lot. I've said this over the last decade. It's been a little more than a decade now. Though I wouldn't wish homelessness upon anybody, I would do it 1,000 times over to be here right now talking to you, because those moments, they formed me just as much as the good moments did. And there were plenty of good moments during those times. In fact, I never did launch the nonprofit because I started helping my friend with her nonprofit, which we have had for a decade, which is incredibly successful now. But we do different work than homelessness work. And I definitely want to get back into the homelessness as this thing grows. But there was so much good that came out of all of that as well. We got a lot of small things for people that needed them long before they had any of these websites where you could, raise money, GoFundMe's and everything. We crowdsourced boots for a young lady who needed boots just before a winter storm, and glasses for a guy that got a guy, off of Twitter, that got a guy his job back, and all of these things. So those things are they're part of our life. Again, I would not wish anybody ever to have to be homeless, but you know what? I do it in some kind of weird Groundhog Day kind of movie thing. That's fine, because it took me to this place where I'm sitting now, which I rather like. So I can't look back on my past and you can't have any regrets, right? You just have to go. Life just goes forward, and you either got to jump on the train. Yeah, because you can't stop it. You cannot resist. It won't stop for you. It's never stopped for anybody before. Why is it going to stop for us, right?
It keeps going. I think that's where our attitude about things, our mindset, it's so powerful. And when we really plug in and realize that, our perspective and being able to be mentally sound in even the most difficult situations that we maybe don't enjoy, but we have to get through them. It's, I've learned a lot, and it sounds like you have too. And I'm sure people that are listening have also been in different places and seasons in their lives where, they weren't necessarily like, oh, I didn't think I'd end up here, but I'm here, and then making the most of it. And then all the blessings that come through, and the breakthroughs that come through when you just put one foot in front of the other, and you end up in a completely different place that's unimaginable. And like, we're here together, who knew that we get to hang out from across the globe, having a chat about
I know,
everything
you are
from,
my
the cavemen
guest ever.
So it's awesome. And thank you so much for, just having an open heart and just doing what you're doing. It's awesome. Really have enjoyed chatting.
Well, thank you. And I know we'll talk offline too, and we'll definitely do this again and again. It's just been so nice. We did have those technical problems. So I'm going to chop the front of this video off so people don't see me in my grrr mode. But those challenges, I just appreciate you. You helped me. You were very nice and very, look, I have run across a musician or two in my day, because I've met just about everybody when we were doing that work. And some of them were kind of grumpy sometimes, but you were so nice and sweet, and we were right there, and you just lifted me right back up. I appreciate that so much. And I love that we all have a journey. We all have a story to tell, and thank the stars for those of us like you and like me in my storytelling ability, that we can then share those out to the world, and people can enjoy them and get inspired to do whatever they do really well too. Because and I like to say this to people too, just because I can do something well doesn't mean that I'm any better than you. Whatever you can do well, find out what that is and stick to it and do it well. It doesn't really matter what it is. Just try to do it well, and then smile and enjoy yourself, whether you're in Chicago or in New Zealand. And again, you're my furthest guest. And I mean, can't get much further. So, I mean, you're going to hold that record for a while, I think. And it's just been a joy. And we will definitely catch up soon. When I get this out tomorrow, I'll get you a link so you can send it out. Remind me if I don't remember. I will send you a copy of this. So if there's anything you want to use, a little clip or something like that for anything, it'll be yours, to be yours to use. And just so everybody knows what it's, hold on, let me think. Hold on. It's tomorrow there, and it must be around 6:30-ish, 6:20 something. What time is it?
Close. It's 5:30 p.m. on Thursday here. So I'm in the future, and I just want to assure everyone it's a great day tomorrow. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, she can't give you the lottery numbers. I don't understand why.
No.
She is in the future. She should. I should be winning the Powerball. Like, I don't know why, but it doesn't work.
204. I'm just kidding.
You know what? That'd be great if that actually worked. Somebody actually play those numbers, folks, and split it with Emme and I.
I think I left a digit off, but yeah, it's been a lot.
Well,
of
I'll throw a
fun
9 in there for the Powerball number, and
Powerball
thank you, Emme.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emme. I know we'll talk soon offline. And this was a great. Oh, and then last thing too, I always forget to do this with with everybody I have. If you know anybody that would like to be on the show, another musician or somebody or whatever, and you want to bring somebody on or something, just let me know. You know what I mean? I'd love to.
Okay.
Love to know some of the people if you've got anybody that could, especially if they could benefit from getting a little time with an interview and stuff like that. So we will definitely talk soon.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's so cool. And good night to all the folks out there. Lots of love. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your week and a very Merry Christmas, and that you feel loved.
Thank you very much. Well, we'll close it out this way, everybody, as I am a little verklempt myself. I am Revolution McInnes. This has been Talk with Revolution, and we are going to be on tomorrow night on our other new now program called So Far This Week in the Chi, or Shy, depending on how you want to say it, but it's kind of a nickname for Chicago. But we're going to do it's kind of about big cities and urban politics and different things. But we are lucky to have the number one person on the ballot for the Chicago mayoral race. That's by lottery. And his name is Jamal Green. So we have a candidate for Chicago mayor on tomorrow night. I'm very thrilled about that. With Dr. Ali Neitzel will be our other host on there. And Emme, again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great evening. Bye,
You
you
too.
guys. Thank you.
Bye. And